येषां मलं शरीरस्य च वैद्यकेन योपाकरोतं प्रवरं मुनीनां पतञ्जलिं प्राञ्जलिरानतोऽस्मि। Namaste and welcome to Kaivalya Yoga Gurukulam or KYG for yet another class in the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. I'm sitting in the holy premises of yet another beautiful, large temple, ancient of course. It is called the Sarabeshwar Temple. More of this historic temple in another video. But for now, let us get down to the sutra number 13. This sutra continues from the previous one, where Patanjali emphasized on two important streams, if you will, Abhyasa and Vairagya. In this sutra and in the one that follows it, Patanjali explains to us what Abhyasa is. This sutra goes like this. Tatra sthitau yatno'bhyāsaḥ. Tatra sthitau yatno'bhyāsaḥ. Tatra sthitau yatno'bhyāsaḥ. So there are four words: tatra, sthiti or sthitau, yatna, and abhyasa. So in this sutra, Patanjali defines abhyasa, makes us understand this contextual definition of the word practice or sadhana that we use, abhyasa. So abhyasa, practice, sadhana. It is what? It is a collection of yatna. Yatna means effort. It comes from the word prayatna. Prayatna is effort. In Hindi and Sanskrit, efforts are called practice. But what kind of efforts? Sthitau, tatra sthitau. Tatra here, he refers to that. What is that? Tatra is that state. That state. The state of nirodhaḥ, the state of ekagra, that Patanjali describes in the Chitta Vritti Nirodhaḥ Sutra. So, tatra sthitau, to be established. Sthitau means to be established. So, tatra sthitau, in that state, to be established in that state. Whatever efforts that you put in, those efforts are known as abhyasa. Tatra sthitau yatno'bhyāsaḥ. Tatra, to be established in that state, established, sthitau. Yatno, effort. Abhyasa is practice. So we put practice in all directions, right? Everything needs practice. As a 3-year-old, I need to practice how to eat with a spoon or with my hand, the food, to hold things, to walk. Everything is practice. But can all that come under Patanjali's definition of abhyasa? We sing, we practice asanas, we practice. We dance, we need to practice. We are painters, we need to practice. Are all those practices abhyasa? If these practices help you get established in tatra, in that state, are aimed towards going towards that state, then and then alone it is called practice. So let us be very clear, because in the previous statement, Patanjali explains abhyasa and vairagya, and Vyasa helps us understand that practice has to flow towards spirituality, flow towards kalyana. Kalyana vahati, that's what Vyasa explained, right? So it flows towards the ultimate welfare, which is the ultimate aim, the goal of life itself, self-realization. So Patanjali takes that a step further and tells us that all practices that you do that are towards being established in the highest state, only those can be called practices. Let us take an example to understand this clearly. I practice yoga abhyasa. Yoga abhyasa means yoga practice. Now this is a common term for many of us who practice yogasanas as yoga abhyasa. Can that be called abhyasa? Well, let's examine that. If I practice in order to get popular on YouTube, for example, if I practice for a competition, if I practice to get some kind of recognition, to show how flexible I am, and so on and so forth, those we need to ask, do those help me get established in the tatra sthitau, tatra, in that state? Or is it dragging me more towards my recognition, my reputation, my flexibility, and so on and so forth? On the other hand, the same practice, the same mat. I practice without my awareness going beyond the four corners of my mat. I am deeply established in myself when I stretch my body. I see my body as an expression of my mind. I see my mind as an expression of the Atma, the spirit within. Then that practice, without explaining any further, takes me towards being established in that state. So externally the practice may seem the same, but then it is the objective behind why we are doing these that makes it clear whether we can call it abhyasa or not. And therefore the word abhyasa in this context cannot be simply defined as practice, though I use it as such, because practice in this context does not mean anything if it's not directed towards the ultimate goal of being established in nirodhaḥ, or at least in ekagra. Let us understand that one-pointedness and nirodhaḥ are very close to each other, so let us first aim for the one-pointedness. Vyasa, in his commentary, helps us understand this. He says, such practices, therefore, when it flows uninterruptedly towards this state where we want to experience the chitta without any vrittis, he calls that flow of mind, that flow of practice, prashantavahita, prashantavahita, a steady, peaceful, calm flow of the mind to experience the chitta nadi. Now you see, it's very interesting. In the previous sutra and in this sutra, both Vyasa and Patanjali are helping us understand chitta, mind, as more as a flow, because now we are entering this idea of practice. Practice is not one practice, right? It's a continuation. There is an element of time, there's an element of repetition perhaps, and therefore there is a flow. So both Vyasa and Patanjali, of course, in his unique way of hiding these meanings, explains to us that this practice is a flow. And Vyasa explains that this practice, this flow, is called prashantavahita. It has to be peaceful, it has to be calm, undisturbed. And Vyasa also adds two more to this. What kind of practice? He says generally the practice should have viryam. Viryam means energy, action-oriented practice. Now, why does Vyasa mention that? The way I have understood this is because it is very easy for us to become philosophers. We read something, we read a text and we say, okay, I got it, and we adopt a philosophy, but we never rarely put it into practice. For example, do I choose a job that is in line with my overall values in life? Or am I part of a job which really is in conflict with my innermost values, but I'm doing it because I say I have to make a living and therefore it's okay. So that means I'm not able to put it into practice, my beliefs. As an example, So viryam is energy into your practice. In other words, bring it into action. Whatever that practice is, that is number one. Number two, Vyasa says, your practice should have utsaha. Utsaha is, should be a yearning, an enthusiasm, a wanting to do that. Not, oh my God, I have to do it, but, oh yes, I can't wait to do my practice because it helps me find my way back home. That's what motivates us, right, into spirituality. That should be perhaps the only motivation because it helps us find our true identification. And therefore, Vyasa says, we need to bring these two important traits into our practices: viryam, energy, and utsaha, enthusiasm, an element of yearning to want to know more, to practice more, to learn more. And with these two energies into your practice, direct your practice towards being established in the highest state. Tatra sthitau yatno'bhyāsaḥ. All practices that are aimed towards being established in that state, the state of nirodhaḥ or ekagra, these are known as abhyasa. As always, thank you for giving me this opportunity to be sharing these beautiful principles of the mind and spirit with you all from these holy premises of ancient temples. Until we meet again in the next class, stay blessed, stay inspired. Namaste.
Kaivalya